You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, there is breaking news out of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Police Department receives a phone call that ends up finding the body of a woman who hasn't been heard from in days. We'll have details.
Mostly cloudy and cool for today. Got to wait a couple days for some warmth to return, and then we're actually going to talk about snow by the end of the week. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a family loses their home after a fire engulfs their apartment building. We'll have all that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Authorities discover the body of a woman in Pittsburgh just after noon yesterday. Pittsburgh Police Department was called to a residence at 1105 West 4th Street for a report of a female subject who had not been heard from in some days. Officers and Crawford County EMS responded to the scene, discovered the woman deceased inside the home. Authorities have not released the name of the woman, and the death investigation is being treated as suspicious in nature at this time. Anyone with information should contact the Pittsburgh Police Department, 620-231-1700. Grand River Dam Authority police identify a drowning victim at Grand Lake as 60-year-old Kevin Callahan of Sarcoxie, Missouri. Authorities say last Thursday, Callahan was backing a truck and trailer down a boat ramp at Twin Bridges State Park. As he was going down the boat ramp, the truck went into the water. Callahan never resurfaced. Police officers rushed to rescue a woman from a house fire in southwest Missouri, and the quick thinking by first responders saved her life. Webb City fire broke out just before 7 Sunday evening on the 500 block of West 3rd Street in Webb City. Webb City Fire, Webb City Police, and Met's ambulance responded. Both Joplin and Oronogo Fire responded as mutual aid. The first to arrive were 2 Webb City police officers. And they were told an adult female was trapped near the fire in a back bedroom. The rear door of the residence was blocked by fire, so both officers busted out a window and pulled the female to safety. She suffered unknown injuries and was taken to an area hospital for treatment. Firefighters had the blaze under control in about 35 minutes, but the home suffered extensive damage. Red Cross was called in to assist the family. No firefighters were injured fighting the fire. Joplin City Council last night discussed adding a lodging ordinance to the city's codes. The ordinance would allow the city of Joplin to supersede state lodging rule. The state's rule sets guidelines for lodging establishments regarding sanitation and safety standards for things like food, wiring, plumbing, and pools. According to the state, a lodging establishment is a building with at least 5 guest rooms, so it would not include most short-term rentals like Airbnbs.
Having an ordinance in place, it would provide some consistency on the inspections. It would also give us the ability to possibly strengthen some existing codes.
According to a survey by the city manager, there are 24 establishments in Joplin that qualify, with the smallest having 20 rooms and the largest 138. Crawford County Sheriff's Office is tired of people going around stop school buses with their stop signs engaged. The Sheriff's Office has a warning. Deputies will be out patrolling school bus routes and giving out violations. That's a fine and court cost of $423.
People, if it did happen, they did it, and then they're like, "Oh man, I just saw it the last second. I didn't." So I think you have those, and I think sometimes people just aren't paying attention, is what it is. And as we all know, everybody knows, in school year, the buses are out and about and they're picking up kids, and you just have to be aware of that.
Sheriff's Office, above all, wants people to remember that not stopping for school buses that have their stop signs engaged puts the lives of children at risk. Well, you know the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished. All those firefighters at a park in Indianapolis sure do. And if you look really closely at the top center of your screen, sitting on a branch, this is the punishment for Owen's good deed. 17-year-old climbed up the tree, about 35 feet up, in fact, to rescue a cat. Now, he had no trouble getting up there, but getting down was another story. Firefighters showed up first, but they had to call in the rope rescue team, who then called in the tactical team. It took about an hour to get the kid down. Other than a few scrapes, Owen is just fine. Now, the cat reacting in most cat-like way possible, made no effort to climb down and actually seemed to enjoy the commotion.
Did they ever get the cat?
Oh, he made it down safely before the kid did. He didn't need help.
Right, but the cat
Basically.
got down?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Evan, you were doing everything right, man. Sorry they had to call the tactical team on you.
I guess their ladders weren't long enough.
The poor kid's got to go to school the next day, and like his buddies are just going to be like, Evan.
They should have brought in like one of those big trampolines for him to just bounce off of.
Oh,
There's the cat.
Like I do feel bad for the kid.
There's the cat. And the kid just kept going higher and higher. Oh man.
Can you imagine though being the firefighter on charge? And he's like, bring me the rope team and the tactical team. And Evan's like, just please have my girlfriend not walk by right now.
And he's in shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, that kid's gonna have pictures all over his locker. Mark my words. All in good fun though. Here's a live look outside of Television City. A couple more minutes there, we're probably going to lose shot of the sun as it will be obscured by the cloud cover that's going to hang around all day. Current conditions over 7th and Range Line put us at a chilly 26 degrees, but at least that wind's not blowing too hard. That makes a huge difference, especially when you think about the north wind that we had yesterday morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker with the clouds moving in from the southwest up to the northeast. We are dry, however. We just can't seem to press up to the 30-degree mark. Still waiting on Anderson, that's at 29, and we still have 18 degrees in Yates Center, Neodesha, and Sedan. So bundle up when you head outside. And even this afternoon, the jacket's still going to be needed as we'll only top out around 44 degrees. Overnight, skies do begin to clear, so it feels like we're headed in the right direction here because Wednesday is going to be able to put us up into the 50s with that sunshine. Actually, the beginning of back-to-back 50-degree days for not only Wednesday, but also Thursday as well. Thursday night, here come the changes. We're going to start with rain. We're going to back that up with a cold front that will even give us some snow for Friday morning. Now, before we get there, this Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., it is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Missouri and Kansas will be running statewide drills. These will commence as scheduled because we do not have the threat of severe weather today. I just want everybody to know at 10 when you hear the sirens go off, that is the reason that they are going off. We do not have any impending severe weather. This is a test to make sure that everything is up and functioning for severe weather season.
All right. Just know that 10 o'clock, it's time to test.
10 a.m. You set your watch to it.
All right, thanks, Michael. Up next, facing seasonal depression. Well, we have some tips to help you face those winter blues. And later, Jasmine Kyle joins us back in studio to talk puppies and the opening of the new doggy bag resale shop. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Researchers say millions of Americans deal with seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. Fox's Sal Giangrasso explains what it is and how people suffering can make themselves feel better.
In just about 2 weeks, it'll officially be spring, but people across the country are still dealing with winter.
I like the snow, and then I like to be in here and working.
But not everyone likes wintry weather. When we deal with snow and shorter days, and when some people experience seasonal depression, it's not clear who will get symptoms. Researchers estimate 3% of the U.S. population experiences seasonal depression every year. It's more likely people will deal with the disorder in the fall or winter, but some people actually have symptoms in the summer. And as many as 20% of the population in northern states, like Michigan, may experience the disorder.
Women are more likely to develop seasonal depression. About 4 times more women will experience seasonal depression than men.
Researchers say they don't know why. Adding children as young as 6 years old have been diagnosed with seasonal depression. Some people experience the disorder later in life when they are starting to age.
You can take some easy measures at home to counteract or treat yourself for seasonal depression.
That includes making sure you get natural light in the morning and considering the use of a light therapy lamp daily for 30 minutes. You'll also want to eat healthy, exercise, and ensure you get a proper amount of vitamin D. Doctors say people who are affected should start to feel better in a matter of weeks after trying these tips. Salchi and Grasso, Fox News.
Well, being an optimistic person might have more benefits than you think. That's according to a new study. Researchers from Boston University School of Medicine studied optimism effects on a person's health, found it indeed helps people interpret stressful situations differently. Analysts examined more than 200 older men for 14 years, and results show more positive men had fewer instances of being in a bad mood and fewer stressors. Previous research also shows stress is connected to increased inflammation, which can trigger rapid aging and even start dementia. You might want to rethink grabbing that frozen snack at the supermarket. Dietitians share some of the worst ones for your health. They say frozen foods are a major concern for cardiovascular health due to the high levels of sugars and unhealthy fats, as well as being considered key drivers of obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure. Frozen snacks like pizza rolls, frozen pizza, frozen French fries, frozen toaster pastries, and even the beloved sweet and sour chicken are part of this list. The American Heart Association suggests no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. A book has returned to the library 65 years late. Ooh, hate to see the fine on that one. Jill Davies, a British woman, found the novel titled Forgotten Submarine abandoned on the side of the road in Portsmouth, England. The young girl decided to take the book home and read it before returning it to the local library where it belonged. Well, that was in 1957. Fast forward to now, when Davies found the book in her collection, finally returned it after 65 years. Davies says she brought it with her on numerous moves and had never gotten around to sending it back. The original person who checked out the book has not been identified, but will not be charged the 65-year-old late fee.
So she found it laying on the side of the road when she was a kid. And
then just took it to
I love the
read
fact
it.
that she moved around the country and it went with her everywhere.
Well, hopefully the original person was offered like a buyout option or something, because I know that like if you have a movie rental.
I don't know what they did in the
like
look,
they can't find it. They honestly can't find it.
You know, despite the gray hair, I don't I wasn't checking out library books back then. I did check out. Kale and I went to the library last week, and I actually did check out a book that was old enough that it still had the punch cards and the name.
Nice.
The names written down on it.
Those are fun.
Yeah, he thought that was pretty cool.
This is how we used to do it, kids.
Daily Almanac for our March the 8th would have our average high around, say 57 degrees. Unfortunately, we are not going to come close to that. Temperatures right now just struggling to get to 30 degrees. We don't have anybody at 30 degrees yet. We're still waiting on select locations throughout the western part of southeast Kansas to even get to 20 degrees. Entire Midwest is staying dry for the most part, with a national perspective showing, look how south the jet stream digs right here. Just about through El Paso down into southwestern Texas. That cold just sinking straight down right there. Now, eventually it's going to recede back to the north here for Wednesday and Thursday. That'll bring us some warmer temps than what we experienced on Monday and Tuesday, but still, today only 44. Overnight, the skies do begin to clear out. It's not going to be too windy today. That's one positive aspect, not having to fight the wind, and so not a huge difference when we talk about wind chills. And what that clearing sky will do is actually put us up into the 50s on Wednesday. Can't complain about that. Thursday going to bring us rain that'll turn into snow for Friday morning. And do not forget that at 10 a.m. this morning, because it is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, we will have statewide tornado drills for Missouri and Kansas. Reason we're able to do that today as scheduled is we do not have the threat of severe weather. Certainly wouldn't want to confuse anybody and want everybody aware of why those will go off this morning. We're going to come back. Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society joining us in Studio K right after this.
Welcome back. Jasmine Kyle is with us with Apollo, who has an amazing story. I don't know if we want to refer to him as Apollo 12 or not.
Right? It's a good one. So yeah, we actually had one of the largest litters in 2 years at our facility, which he likes to go for that mic, doesn't he? Which is a large litter of 12. These large litters are on the rare side. A lot of people are like, oh no, it's 2 litters. No. Mama Dog did a good job, and she gave birth to all 12 of these guys. And then somebody unfortunately dumped them on somebody's property. So We tried our best to find mom, and that was just not possible. So we have been taking care of these 12 little guys, and 2 weeks ago we were on air with you guys, and we are very happy to share that 10 of them are in foster care. So now we just have Mr. Apollo and his brother Droopy. He's got these cute little big droopy ears. But this Saturday we've got our doggy bag resale shop. It is doing a grand opening at its new location, which is 514 North Broadway. And these two little guys are going to be there from noon to 2 o'clock this Saturday. The store will be open to the public. We'll have puppies, free giveaways, raffles, and of course the store is fully stocked, and 100% of the proceeds from the doggy bag go to the SEK Humane Society.
Okay, so if you've never been into the doggy bag, tell us about it.
So
what kind of stuff is in there?
100% of it is donated from the public, from clothing to home decor to pet items to books. It's a nice resale shop that it's completely supported by our community and its donor base, and 100% of it goes back to these guys with behavioral assessments to medications to special grade food for dietary restrictions and even for utilities from time to time to keep those doors open so we can keep saving these babies.
Okay, and the doggy bag is one place that you can volunteer at if you want to sign up to volunteer.
Yes, you can. Yeah, volunteer there. Or summer is coming up. Spring and summer are busy times out at the shelter. So if you have a free afternoon where you want to come out and walk dogs, or we have our checkout program. So with the checkout program, got to be 18 years or older, and all we'll need to do is get a copy of your license and your driver's tag, and then after that, you can check out that dog for as long as you want for the day, but they got to be back by 3:30 so we can tuck them in, but that's it.
Yep,
but
Pittsburgh has the dog park out at Schlinger Park that they would probably love to go visit if you can check them out.
They've got the dog park, there's Freddy's, there's Starbucks for a pup cup, there's lots of things. There's the beautiful trail out by Frontenac Wilderness Park. It's gorgeous. We have several of our dogs at the shelter that love that park, and it's a great way, one, to not only get them out and socialize, but two, you're going to exercise out of it too at the same time and meeting a new friend.
So if you do want to go check out a dog, do you have to have your own leash, or do you provide that?
Nope, we provide that. You do not have to worry about that at all.
All right, well, that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun outing. Maybe you can't have animals at your own house. You don't have the ability to foster, but you can go spend an afternoon.
Yes, and we always ask that you take pictures too, because with those pictures we actually use them for adoptions with your approval, of course. We'll ask them to put them on our website and then their profile pictures. I can't tell the public enough. We're getting ready to meet with a class at PSU later in the week for photography, and it ups their adoptability by 70%. I mean, from these, we get great pictures right at the shelter, but it's amazing just to have one person solely focused on that animal without having to do all the others and get these cute little adorable pictures of somebody eating a pup cup or going to Wilderness Park. And it really puts a viewer in that mindset of, I like to have that dog. I want to go on trails with that dog. I want to go get a pup cup with that dog. And it opens up the door. So don't ever think that a small act of volunteerism isn't enough. Those acts can literally change their lives.
Okay, so let's talk about the animals that you have at the shelter right now. I think you said you have a lot of puppies, but you always have older dogs too.
Yeah, we always have older dogs. So we still do have about 60% of our larger dogs are fostered, meaning that they do not have an adoption fee. We have a Pet Sense adoption event coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks, and we're going to have Montana, Mortimer, Crystal, and Dixie there. Those are all adult dogs. Puppies, of course, go quick, so for these adoption events, we really like to solely focus on our long-term stays. Montana is a special place in my heart. He's been on your show before. He's a wonderful dog. Cattle dog Australian mix, is a senior. He's 7 years old, but he does great with other dogs. We've had him at 8 adoption events. He's worked with kids at school events. If you are looking for a dog that would make, sorry, I'm getting emotional, that would make a difference, that would have a huge impact on your family, I highly recommend you check out our dogs online. We have some amazing seniors, including Montana and Betty, who have our hearts, but they deserve to have their own homes at this point.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for bringing Apollo on.
Not a
Hopefully we can find Apollo and Droopy, his sibling, a foster home as well until they're ready for adoption.
We hope so too. And again, they'll be at the Doggy Bag, the new location, 514 North Broadway, this Saturday from noon to 2.
All right. Definitely come check it out. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
We take this time to honor this morning's 4-state hero. Sergeant Dale Shue served in the United States Air Force from October 1940 to September 1945. He served in the Canal Zone with the 51st Fighter Squadron, which had the nickname the Fighting Billy Goats. During his service, he managed to earn 5 overseas bars. From his service, he earned the American Defense Ribbon, American Campaign Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. The native of Oswego, Kansas, we salute you. This morning's 4-state hero, Sergeant Dale Shue. A fire in Kansas destroyed 12,000 acres over the weekend, taking with it more than 24 homes. People displaced by the Cottonwood Complex fire were finally allowed to return home Monday, but for some, there's nothing left to return to. Sean Logging with the story.
You know, my son turned 18 last week, and now we have to start completely over. We will. We're strong.
It's 3 years to the day Keisha Brandt and her family became homeowners on Victory Road.
And we spent the next 6 months remodeling the whole thing to make it ours. It was our first home. So.
Keisha says their family was out of town when they learned fire was encircling their property.
Our property, I watched on our front door Ring camera, our entire property was taken over within 5 minutes. It was nuts. Devastating, yeah.
While they had a few miracles and some of their pets and animals survived, most everything else on their small farm is gone.
I prayed for the people and I prayed for my animals. And somehow the building that our dogs were in got completely missed. Everything around it burned.
And the same for many of their neighbors.
Driving down our block doesn't feel like home anymore. It doesn't look like home.
Cliff Bailey lives a few roads to the east, his home one of the few still standing. He watched as the fire was spreading across this area.
The flames were jumping the road over my truck, and I turned around and got out of there. It destroyed my rental house, but not the house that I live in.
Cliff stresses the severity of this catastrophic fire.
It'll take 10 years to fully recover. A lot of the people that I know out there that I've talked to aren't going to rebuild. It's just too devastating.
As smoke still scents the air, it's looking to what's next. For Keisha and her family, it's rebuilding their lives piece by piece.
We'll just keep going day after day after that, one foot in front of the other.
At least one person died in the Cottonwood Complex fire. As of yesterday afternoon, it was 70% contained. We have another half hour of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 on the way. We're also going to break down not only your 7-day forecast, but don't forget, this is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, and we'll tell you when to expect those tornado sirens to be tested. Once again, I stress, to be tested later on this morning. We'll be back right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Authorities discovered the body of a woman in Pittsburgh just before noon yesterday. The Pittsburgh Police Department was called to a residence at 1105 West 4th Street for a report of a female subject who had not been heard from in some days. Officers and Crawford County EMS responded to the scene and discovered the woman deceased inside the home. Authorities have not released the name of the woman, and the death investigation is being treated as suspicious in nature at this time. Anyone with information should contact the Pittsburgh Police Department, 620-231-1700. Humanitarian crisis in Ukraine is deepening, with no signs of Russian President Vladimir Putin and his army slowing their brutal war on Ukraine and its citizens. Nearly 2 million people seeking safety in countries to the north and west. Thousands more facing worsening conditions as they try to flee. Lauren Blanchard is in Poland near the Ukrainian border with more.
Women and children continue to flood across the border out of Ukraine, cold, tired, and unsure of what lies ahead.
These days was really awful.
Nearly 2 million people have fled Ukraine to escape the violence. The exodus mainly led by women, carrying not only their children and pets, but also the physical and emotional baggage of war.
I would like to wish women to stay strong, to keep a cool head, and keep a healthy way of thinking. Ukrainian women are the strongest in spirit.
Meanwhile, within the borders of Ukraine, cities are seeing a flood of displaced civilians. 200,000 have moved into the western city of Lviv. City officials pleading for international help as they struggle to house and feed those trying to leave war-torn regions.
We need big tents so that we can support people. We need these tents to be equipped with appropriate sanitation facilities so food can be cooked.
Russian troops continue to pummel cities and residential areas in southern Ukraine. Despite assurances from Russia, safe passage for the thousands trying to escape remains uncertain.
We call for the Russian Federation to agree to and honor in good faith Ukrainian proposals for time-bound humanitarian safe passage in specific agreed-upon locations.
The so-called safe corridors could open up again, but after multiple failed ceasefires, Ukrainians are skeptical. In Poland, near the Ukrainian border, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Now, ribbon cutting on Monday marked the completion of a renovation of the original Broadway entrance to Pitt State's Russ Hall. The original entrance was built in 1940. This renovation was funded with gifts from senior classes of 2000 and classes 2003 through 2008.
Those senior class gifts are usually the first gifts as donors to an institution, and giving back is critical. You'll notice on campus there are tag events all over that celebrate and acknowledge the gifts that are made possible through gifts from community members.
Opening coincides with the university's annual Apple Day celebration. A number of other events celebrated Apple Day at Pitt State, including the traditional apple dessert contest. Of course, Apple Day is the university's longest running tradition.
You know, I've only participated as a judge, and I'll tell you that the judge positions are pretty coveted positions. It's a big deal to be able to judge the contest, and so
it's fun to judge that contest in particular. Apple Day at Pitt State dates back to 1907 when the university founder and the Pittsburgh president were fined a barrel of apples for sitting in a legislator's seat while lobbying for the school. Well, Monday was Apple Day at Pitt State for faculty and students. And for alumni and community members, it was also Giving Day. It's a 24-hour campaign encouraging alumni and people in the community to give back to the university. There are special challenges to raise funds and awareness for different departments and programs.
These funds will go to student organizations. They'll go to essentially anywhere that the donor wants to have those funds go. But it's a chance to say, hey, give back, support Pitt State. And again, along with Apple Day is one of our oldest traditions. We're hoping that this new tradition, it's our 5th year, we can add that to everyone's mind as well.
And you can find a list of those challenges on our website and more information on how you can donate towards Giving Day. Indiana will soon have its first literary landmark, the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library. It'll be in Indianapolis. Vonnegut Museum, dedicated to preserving the legacy of the author of the modern classics Slaughterhouse-Five and Breakfast of Champions, will celebrate its literary landmark designation and the 100th anniversary of Vonnegut's birth on April 10th. Vonnegut is a renowned author, best known for his unflinching look at the world, tempered with a satirical eye and a sardonic sense of humor. In a career spanning over 50 years, Vonnegut published 14 novels, 3 short story collections, 5 plays, and 5 works of nonfiction.
I remember the first time I read Slaughterhouse-Five. I was too young to capture the meaning of what he was getting at. I just remember, like, my mind was blown, like, in the first 3 pages.
Yeah?
I would go back and read it later in life and say, oh, now I understand.
That's cool that they got a museum dedicated to all this.
And remember what the aliens tell Billy Pilgrim? And so it goes. Remember, 10 a.m. this morning, we have statewide tornado drills for both Missouri and Kansas. This is part of Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Do not be alarmed when you hear the sirens go off. It is a scheduled drill for today, and once again, that will be at 10 a.m. Storm sirens, and also, hopefully, your NOAA radio goes off if you have one. If it does not, remember, we may want to have that thing checked out, because all throughout the state of Kansas and Missouri, identifying your location, We need to make sure everything's working as we approach severe season. Now, the only weather change that we have really for us on the way, number one, some warmer temps on Wednesday and Thursday. Finally get some 50s back, but remember, Thursday night into Friday morning. Thursday, we get some rain and a big cold front on the backside of it transitions that over into a wintry mix, and then some snow for Friday morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll talking about scams. Get this, college student in Indiana gets an email. Seems legit, of course, turns out it wasn't. She was discussing playing for a couple's wedding. They sent her a check for $1,900, claimed they sent her $700 too much, asked for it back. She did just that. Then the rest of the check, it bounced. Our question to you this morning is, have you ever been scammed? 38% of you say yes, somebody's taken advantage of probably your kindness over the years. 62% of you say no. And Tanya brought up a great point earlier. If you have any heads up that you want to give people as far as what may have happened to you, not asking for personal details, but just kind of a little crowdsourcing as far as, hey, be on the lookout for this, you can leave that on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. There's a program that's using tattoos, and this is going to be an interesting one right here, because tattoos are helping gang members leave their life of crime. Jackie Ibanez with more on how a group of inmates traded in their tats for job prospects.
Tattoos usually hold significance to the person wearing them.
This is our lion. This is the king of the jungle. The jungle meaning the streets.
For gang members, they're a way to pledge allegiance to their crew. A permanent reminder they're bound to an organization typically associated with crime and violence.
It was me saying that I belong to a group of people who are going to be looking out for each other, no matter what.
But now a new initiative at the DuPage County Jail outside Chicago is helping gang members remove or cover up their signature markings with new non-gang affiliated designs, in hopes of abandoning their life of lawlessness to pursue a career once free from behind bars.
You go so far deep.
At least 12 inmates at DuPage are enrolled in what's called the JUST program, which teaches vocational skills as well as religious studies, anger management, and more. But law enforcement say ditching the gang tattoos is the ultimate way for participants to prove they're serious about moving forward.
It's a material commitment, because once you take those colors off, you're out of the gang life. You're not welcome back in that environment.
And it's a serious decision. Eliminating gang tattoos comes with liabilities for former members, including threats to their lives by the gang they once served.
I don't want to be like this 15 years from now. I have a lot of people that's grown, still in their life, and it's just eating them up.
While the JUST program doesn't guarantee inmates that they will get a job, it does assist them in the job search away from their former gang's turf. For Fox News, I'm Jackie Ibanez.
Be back with your consumer news right after this.
The backlash against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine is growing across several industries. And Russian vodka is one of those targets, even triggering one company to change its name. At least 8 states are now urging liquor stores to stop buying and selling Russian-branded booze. But Jane Sullivan has why the move may miss the intended target.
A growing number of states are boycotting Russian-made booze in support of Ukraine.
I have no intentions of bringing them back.
Officials in at least 8 states, including Ohio, Utah, Oregon, North Carolina, Alabama, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and New Hampshire are calling on liquor stores to remove Russian-made or Russian-branded products from their shelves.
We sell anywhere around $20 million of Russian-based product at any given over the course of any given year, out of $1 billion or so of spirits that we do sell. So it does have some impact.
But experts say the move may miss the intended target because few alcohol brands are imported from Russia and sold in the U.S. In fact, many of the top-selling vodka brands with Russian origins are now distilled in other countries, including the U.S.
Boom. That's how we feel about it.
One example, Stoli Vodka, which is only Russian by name. The vodka is actually made in Latvia, and the company is headquartered in Luxembourg. The invasion triggered a rebrand with the company, announcing it will be sold and marketed only as Stoli. Another example is Smirnoff. Although the brand traces its heritage to 19th century Russia, the company has long been owned by a British spirits company and is manufactured in Illinois.
I suppose if there were a Russian beer or a Russian wine, that's coming off the shelves too.
Two of the few vodka brands actually produced in Russia are Russian Standard and Green Mark.
Well, as many of you know, I also own a bar, and you can look at the back of the bottle of Stoli vodka and see that it's made in Latvia. I mean, there was no need to pour it out. Anyway, meanwhile, some bar owners are also removing Moscow mules from the menu and replacing them with Kyiv mules to show their solidarity with the people of Ukraine. President Biden is reportedly expected to sign an executive order this week to begin government regulation of cryptocurrency, and that's according to the Associated Press. It's in response to growing concerns Russia could use cryptocurrency to evade the impact of sanctions levied in response to its invasion of Ukraine. The Justice Department, Treasury, and other agencies will also study the possible development of a U.S.-backed digital coin. And Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley has been suspended indefinitely by the NFL, at least through the 2022 season, for betting on games. The league says he placed the wagers for a week in November when he was not playing. Ridley tweeted that he bet $1,500 and does not have a gambling problem. His contract, for which he was set to make $11 million this year, will be put on pause until next year. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
An inspiring story out of Nebraska. A teenager seeing in full color for the first time in his life, something most of us take for granted. But for this young man who spent his life mostly unable to see color, it was an ability that he so wanted to have. He did not, until his friends stepped in with a special pair of glasses. Nicole Griffith with this great story.
I've heard of bricks being red. I didn't know how true that was.
Through Zane Stubendek's eyes, he sees a lot of grays.
I know that it's green, but I see gray right here.
That was until a few weeks ago. For his 19th birthday, 7 of his friends pitched in $250 total to get him a pair of Enchroma glasses that help colorblind people see color. They even captured the moment when his world was brightened.
Do they work over there?
Dude.
Bro, he's shaking. He's shaking so bad.
Yeah, I put them on and got emotional, and I was just nervous that they wouldn't work at first, but I put on the glasses and immediately saw a red car, and that was my first time seeing red.
I've told him for a long time I just never knew what was going to happen, so like now that I was finally doing it for him, I was very excited. So then I got happy, and then he started crying, and then I had to hold my tears back.
Zane's friends have been by his side since high school, helping him pick out clothes and making sure he's matching along the way. They're the type of friends who are literally brightening his life.
The only reason that I was able to experience that is because of them, so I couldn't be any more grateful to have those type of people around me.
We'll be back with a final look at your weather right after this.
Imagine yourself.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The war in Ukraine rages on after nearly 2 weeks of fighting. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky released a new video last night. It was recorded in his office in the capital city of Kyiv. Zelensky vowed to remain in his country until the end of the war. Gas prices have soared since Russia launched its invasion. AAA says U.S. drivers are now paying an average of $4.06 a gallon. That's the highest it's been since July of 2008. The White House has asked Venezuela and Saudi Arabia to increase production, but it's also considering a ban on imports of Russian oil. And 3 large wildfires have prompted widespread evacuations in the Florida Panhandle. The biggest, the Bertha Swamp Road fire, has already burned through more than 13,000 acres. Officials say the flames are being fueled by millions of dead trees left behind by Hurricane Michael in 2018. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Mostly cloudy skies for our Tuesday. Temperatures still waiting for somebody to get the 30. Can't believe we closed out the show. And Anderson's still hanging on at 29. We are dry throughout the Midwest. All the rain will stay down to the southeast of us. Work up around 44 degrees later on this afternoon. Luckily, we're not going to have to fight the wind, so that is the one positive aspect of it all. Clearing out overnight. Wednesday and Thursday temperatures much better, back up into the 50s. But remember, Thursday rain is going to bring a little snow on Friday morning. And also remember, 10 a.m. today, Missouri and Kansas conducting statewide tornado siren drills.
All right, definitely want to be prepared for that. It's happening 10 o'clock this morning. All right, well, breaking a world record for one freediver was a walk in a pool. The Croatian freediver Vitomir Marsic just broke the Guinness World Record for longest underwater walk in one breath. That takes talent. Athlete traveled 351 feet and a half an inch while holding his breath. You got to get that half inch in there. The entire journey took him 3 minutes and 6 seconds. The freediver says his training has taught him how to hold his breath while moving, so he did not have to prepare for this stunt. Marsic hopes to bring awareness to freediving and its benefits to medical research.
Hold his breath for 3 minutes? Oh my goodness.
Well, and he's got to move so he expends as little energy as possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.